so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, how awesome is it to turn data into an interactive map or the visualization of data? And y'all, that is the one thing that if I went full time on YouTube, I will start bringing my members and my subscribers visualization of data. So, regardless, y'all, if you're wondering if your metro city is going to crash or how much it's going to crash, or how likely it's going to crash, then this map will help you understand what shape your current metro area is in. And really, what we're going to do, y'all, is we're going to unpack an article today from Redfin that's titled Pandemic Home Buying Hotspots with Steep Price Increases, Most Susceptible to Housing Downturn in a Recession. So, obviously, not all metro areas are the same. It is really, really important to understand that. So, different metro areas are going to adjust differently to the Federal Reserve's tightening measures and also are going to react differently to a recession. And this morning, GDP came out at negative 0.9%, which means we have now two consecutive quarters of negative GDP, which traditionally has always spelled out recession. So it's going to be interesting to see if the powers at B are going to declare a recession or if they're not going to declare a recession. But either way, you guys, we're going to get started on this article. I'm going to read a little bit of the article first, and then we're going to go into the interactive map. And I want to break down how they even got the information they got to create such a map. So before I do that, you guys remember I'm not a financial advisor. And if you can, please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and shoot me a comment below. But let's get started right now. Popular migration destinations where home prices soared during the pandemic, including Boise, Idaho, Phoenix, and Tampa, Florida, are most likely to see the effects of a housing downturn amplified and home prices decline year over year if the economy goes into a recession. A scenario that some economists believe looks likely as inflation persists and stock markets stumble. Homeowners in those areas who are considering selling may want to list their homes soon to avoid potential price declines. The U.S. housing market slowed considerably in spring, with 5.5% plus mortgage rates sending many buyers to the sidelines and cooling competition. With the market already slowing from its pandemic peak, we analyzed which metros are most susceptible to home price declines if the country officially enters a recession, and which are most resilient to an economic downturn. And y'all, we're starting to have people like Redfin start equating a recession into their forecasting. This is one of the first articles and data breakdowns that I've ever read from Redfin that is actually telling us if we go into a recession, this is what will happen. So this is very important that we're actually finally at these stages of our housing market. Relatively affordable northern metros, several of them in rust belts such as Cleveland and Buffalo, New York, are most resilient in the event of a recession. Prospective home buyers in those areas can move ahead with confidence that they're less likely to see home value declines. So I wanted to read this because I hope you guys understand that really a lot of the cities that are in bad shape right now, that are in the most danger of a collapse in home values, are basically the metro areas where people flooded to, high migration areas. And I hope you guys can see, essentially the after effects and the aftermath of the fear of missing out. The fear of missing out has completely annihilated so many people, and the reason that is, you guys, is because emotions aren't fundamentals, right? Emotions aren't fundamentals. So the fear of missing out, y'all, completely destroyed along with institutional investors, because here's the thing: where institutional investing was the highest, so was the fear of missing out. And now we're starting to see those exact markets crumble. And I hope you guys remember that. Never ever invest with your emotion. Always attempt to invest with logic and with fundamentals. But now what I want to do is I'm going to bring up the definition of how they came up with the interactive map right now. Take a look at this. So this is a breakdown of how they came up with the high risk areas on the map. So let me read this, and then we're going to go into the map right away. Redfin's analysis of housing markets in the 98 U.S. metros where sufficient data was available, uses several housing related indicators for each metro, including home price volatility, average debt to income ratio, and home price growth. Each metro is assigned an overall risk score relative to the other metros in the analysis. 100 represents the highest likelihood of a housing market downturn, including year over year home price declines, while 0 represents the lowest likelihood. Okay, so the data was created by home price volatility, debt to income ratio, and home price growth. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the map up. And again, if you're wondering what's going to happen in your metro area or how overvalued it is, this map is going to help you, especially if you're considering selling, because you may want to sell, like it said, sooner than later. Take a look at this map right now, and the link will be in my description below if you guys want to access this map or even share it on your own free time. Take a look right now. Okay, guys, so here's the nationwide map, and I found this very, very interesting. I found this very, very interesting. Look at California. Let's start with California. The West Coast is in super bad shape, and a lot of people I've talked to in my comment sections say they haven't seen any price cuts in California, but the reality is I believe Los Angeles is one of the top 10 metro areas, or it's in the top metro areas that is actually seeing price declines. So as you can see here, a lot of coastal cities and a lot of cities in California are at big time risk during the downturn, starting with San Diego at 70%. Then we have Anaheim. I love, that area. I grew up in that area in Orange County. Let's see here. Riverside. I also grew up in Riverside. I cannot believe how overvalued Riverside is at 84%. That's the Inland Empire. Here's Los Angeles at 54%. Oxnard at 59%. Bakersfield, Desert City, Bakersfield. I have no idea why anyone want to move here. 72% at risk. That is a massive risk factor. Let's keep going up here. This is Fresno, California at 60%, Sacktown at 73, Stockton 78, San Jose 46, Oakland 45. And these were really, really hot spots. Now let's look at Texas real quick. Unfortunately, my city, Houston, is in jeopardy at 47% risk rate. So Houston's at risk, but look at Austin at 54%. Also, of course, San Antonio, Dallas at 45%, Fort Worth at 49%. And these are all high migration areas. Now look at Florida. Florida is in super duper bad shape. It's probably worse off than California. Here's Cape Coral at 76%, Northport at 75, Tampa at 70, Orlando 63. My heart goes out to y'all in Florida. Miami is at 56, Fort Lauderdale 49. West Palm, where I love fishing, at 63. Jacksonville at 69. Pretty crazy. Look at Idaho. Boise, 76%. Portland, 54. Tacoma, 55. Denver, 53. Colorado Springs, family there at 53. Salt Lake at 57, New Mexico 46. Now look at the East Coast here, y'all. The East Coast is still in bad shape, at risk, but not as bad shape. Look at Boston, Massachusetts, only 32% risk factor. I would have thought Boston would have been way higher, and these East Coast places I would have thought would have been way higher, but it looks like the biggest at risk for East Coast is Providence, Rhode Island at 56%. Very interesting. Let's look over here at Birmingham, 43%. I mean, and you guys could get, you guys can access this map on your own. I feel it's really, really valuable. Again, if you want visualization of data, if you want to take the data and put it into an interactive map, then click the link in my description. Check this out. If you want to know what's going on in your metro area, if you need to sell, or if you're just, when do you want to buy? So if you're in a high risk area, it's probably going to be time to buy next year, 2023, possibly. And I'm not saying for sure, but possibly at the end of this year. But one thing you're going to want to do is use Redfin, use even Zillow, use something so that you can track the local market where you want to purchase. It's very important because there's so many professionals that have failed us, so many realtors that failed to see what was coming. You must, listen to me, you must rely on yourself. Okay. And this is a massive investment, probably the most important, biggest financial transaction of your life. So you're going to need to treat it that way. And again, that's just my opinion, right? You should, in my opinion, treat it that way, right? So here's how I want to conclude. What you got to do is really ask yourself if these trends are going to continue. You guys know that I believe that these trends will continue. The trajectory of these trends will continue, that it will spiral out of control, that the housing market will reset, it will crash, we will have negative equity growth. But what you guys need to ask yourself is going into 2022, further into 2022, and going into 2023, will things get harder and more expensive, or will things get easier and cheaper? If your answer is harder and more expensive, then you have to accept the fact that more than likely we're going to have additional negative equity growth. As it stands right now, according to Redfin, we are down on a nationwide average, and this is not new homes. New homes are down 9.5%. 9.5%, but national average right now is about 1.7%. Y'all know I want 15. I want negative 15 and I'll be happy. To be honest, I want negative 30, right? But I also don't want current homeowners to start going into foreclosure. We don't want that either. So there has to be a balance. And really the thing is we need housing more affordable to the everyday American. But other than that, you guys, I really appreciate you watching this video as always. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck and I hope you win.